One of the three suspects in connection to the shooting at the Christiana Mall is now behind bars. Plus, a home invasion turns deadly after a homeowner turns the gun on the invaders. And the weed weight is almost up. Why a decision from the governor is looming and what happens next. Those stories and much more straight ahead on DETV News. Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for joining us this Thursday evening. One of three suspects who were wanted in connection to the April 8th shooting at the Christiana Mall has turned themselves in. Delaware State Police say the 17-year-old male turned himself in and is facing a number of charges, including facilitating a riot. He's now at the Newcastle County Detention Center on $15,000 secured bail. Troopers said that the other two suspects have not yet been identified. According to police, the three confronted an 18-year-old exiting the food court at the mall and began physically assaulting him. Two friends of the victim then jumped into the fight. One of the three suspects then pulled out a handgun and began firing. State police continue to encourage anyone with information about this shooting, including images or video or information about the suspects, to call 302-365-8467. Newcastle County Police say one suspect is dead, another is injured, and a third is under arrest. This all following a home invasion in the Four Seasons community north of Glasgow on Tuesday night. Police say the three suspects arrived at a residence on Clipper Court, and two of them went inside with a gun. They allegedly threatened the homeowner and started taking items, but the homeowner went and got his own firearm and started shooting at the suspects. A 25-year-old suspect was shot and killed, while 20-year-old Nadir Everett was hit multiple times but fled to a waiting car. The driver, 24-year-old Malik Dennison, drove Everett to Christiana Hospital, where both were then arrested. The homeowner was also shot and was treated at Christiana Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect that died has not yet been identified. The remaining two suspects in a series of attempted carjackings across northern Newcastle County last weekend have been arrested. Three of the group of four men have been charged with multiple felonies, and one man has not yet been extradited from Maryland to Delaware. When he returns, though, police said they plan to charge him with the kidnapping and sexual assault of a woman whose car he stole. Several cars were rear-ended on Friday morning in an attempt to lure drivers out and then steal their vehicles. According to Delaware State Police, two of the men involved were later arrested that day after a police chase, and the other two were arrested this Monday. They face a combined 16 felonies, including charges of resisting arrest, receiving stolen property, possessing a firearm while committing a felony, and tampering with physical evidence. The three men who have been charged and incarcerated and the man awaiting extradition remains in police custody out of state. Police advise that anyone concerned for their safety after any type of vehicle crash should stay inside their car with the doors locked and windows rolled up until police arrive. Governor Carney deflected questions on a possible marijuana decision during this week's town hall. After much back and forth, Governor Carney continued his recent trend of being non-committal on whether he would sign, veto, or allow marijuana bills to become laws without his signature. House Bill 1, which makes personal levels of marijuana possession legal, has to be decided upon by Saturday, April 22nd, while House Bill 2, focused on the taxation and regulations, has a Wednesday, April 26th due date. Carney, who vetoed a similar version of House Bill 1 last year, has kept a hard line on being against non-medical marijuana implementation. Carney was also asked about budget projections showing the state is losing revenue and that marijuana revenue could be a boost to the state's coffers. If Carney does not sign HB 1 or HB 2, the two chambers of the Delaware legislature passed them by veto-proof majorities, although the Delaware House was unable to hold that majority during an override vote last session. Carney was also peppered about possible changes for 30,000 state of Delaware retirees who would end up switching to Medicare Advantage, which often requires pre-authorizations and more out-of-pocket expenses. Carney said the economics of health care are requiring the state to make some tough and sometimes unpopular decisions, explaining that the state spends close to $150 million a year on retiree health, and it's been growing at a rate that's greater than the revenue growth. Additional town halls are expected to be held in Kent and Sussex counties, although those dates and locations have not yet been released. In yesterday's broadcast, we introduced you to a video series that's making a splash on social media. The series is focused on parking rules in the city of Wilmington. Take a look.
This time we're out here on the beautiful Wilmington riverfront area, right on Justison Street. We've got Starbucks, we have Zero, we have Veritas, we've got the bakery all right here on this block. It's a great place to come and visit. Have you ever seen parking enforcement at 6:30 in the morning or 7:30 at night?
No, because the city parking is free after 6, I believe, and I don't think anyone's doing their job that early at 6:30. So, yeah, no, I haven't seen it that early. No.
And have you ever seen a parking enforcement officer out here on the riverfront?
Yes, I have, and I've gotten my tickets even though I'm a resident.
Have you ever seen a parking enforcement officer out before 8 a.m.?
I believe so, but I am not confident that was actually before 8 a.m., but I know it was early.
What's the latest you would say you've seen a park enforcement officer out here?
I have only seen them in the morning, so probably nowhere past noon.
Right behind you is a parking sign, says 30-minute parking, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., followed by a park mobile sign. How do you read that? Do you need to pay for parking from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
According to the sign, yes. It says 30 minutes here between, was it this sign and the one right before where Starbucks is. But then on this side, it has a different sign. Yes, you're expected to pay, and I'm pretty sure that's why they have the parking meters, or you can use the park app.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you know anywhere else in the city that seems to be enforcing from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m.?
Not to my knowledge, no. Not even on Market.
And have you ever seen any parking enforcement officers here at, say, 7 or 8 o'clock at night?
Not yet.
Do you ever see a parking enforcement officer out here in the evenings, going up to 10 o'clock at night?
I haven't seen one at all, like all day. So, and sometimes I'm here, to get some coffee. I usually see people on Market Street, but that's pretty much it.
So any idea why they would have set up these signs to say 30-minute parking from 6 in the morning till 10 at night?
That's probably like old rules that they don't apply anymore, I guess. I don't know. It's a little weird. I've lived here since 2015, and it's just like you start to kind of see things that are outdated. So,
have you ever seen parking enforcement officers out here past, say, 6 o'clock in the evening?
No.
How about 6 o'clock in the morning?
No.
And do you live in this area? Or? And you just haven't seen parking enforced, at those extreme hours?
I really haven't, no.
Well, we're going on 9:30 at night now, and after being here all evening, haven't seen any sign of any parking enforcement at all, 30 minutes or otherwise, and that's okay. The problem here is that clearly there's some mixed messages going on and some lack of enforcement. We'll get into some more of that next week. But I can tell you the answer. According to some of the businesses around here, apparently there was an effort to set up at least 1 or 2 spaces for 30-minute parking for those people who wanted to, keep the traffic moving, come in, get the product, move out, whether that's a cup of coffee or juice or anything else. The problem is that in deciding on that 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. thing, it seemed to be rather arbitrary. Nobody really asked for that. It's just what it is. And of course, now most of the businesses here don't open until 7 or 7:30 in the morning. Most are pretty much wrapped up by 7 or so in the evening. No real need for 30-minute parking at 9 and 10 o'clock at night.
Ken Grant says this video series is designed to help educate the public and engage the city in a conversation about the need for a comprehensive review of the system. Next week, we'll share the third installment of this series. Delaware has made $30 million available with the launch of 2 programs aimed at incentivizing the development of affordable housing units. The Delaware State Housing Authority announced 2 programs funded by the state's American Rescue Plan Act that will provide financial assistance to developers to transform vacant properties into affordable homeownership opportunities and relieve the pressure of increased construction material costs. The state's housing crisis has only gotten more dire in the last year, despite local organizations and developers regularly celebrating new affordable housing complexes. The latest National Low-Income Coalition housing report found the shortage in available units grew by 17%. Meanwhile, the economy remains volatile, interest rates have risen, inflation remains high, and supply chain issues still plague all the various industries, making affordable housing development less desirable to those seeking profit margins. Delaware launched the programs earlier this year to combat those forces with a multi-tiered approach to address the state's housing crisis and strengthen communities. Housing developers have until Friday, April 28th to submit applications for the Housing Tax Credit Program. Developers who meet the eligibility requirements for the low-income housing tax credit may also be able to access ARPA funding to encourage both new units and the preservation of existing units. Governor John Carney announced on Wednesday that the application period for the student seat on the State Board of Education is open now through April 26th. Governor Carney appointed the first ever student representative to the state board in 2019. One qualified student applicant will be appointed to the board to serve as a non-voting member. The student must be a Delaware resident and be enrolled in 11th or 12th grade at a Delaware public school during the 23-24 academic year. Applicants who demonstrate a commitment to ensuring quality education for Delaware students will be given priority consideration. The governor annually appoints to the board an 11th or 12th grade student and former state teacher of the year who also is a current educator. The applicants for a non-voting former Teacher of the Year seat will open later this spring. The application can be found on the State Board of Education website listed on your screen. And incumbent Dover Mayor Robin Christensen won re-election on Tuesday after facing his first challenger in 8 years. Christensen, Dover's mayor since 2014, defeated first-time challenger Diana Welsh by just over 300 votes in a low turnout election. Christensen had not faced a challenger in 8 years, a detail Welsh cited as one of her primary reasons for entering the race. A recently released strategic plan to redevelop downtown Dover, including the addition of 1,000 new apartments to the city's core, loomed over the race. Responding to concerns from Welsh voters that the city would never move forward with the plan, Christensen claimed that he intends to maintain momentum. Welsh says that she may consider running again in 2027, while Christensen says this will likely be his final term. And beach replenishment efforts in Delaware are officially underway, with Rehoboth Beach receiving the first much-needed relief from beach and dune erosion. The project, which was announced by state lawmakers in December 2022 and originally set to begin in the winter, has been pushed back multiple times. Crews began dredging over the weekend, and the work to update the beach's dune fencing is slated to begin soon. Rehoboth Beach Director of Public Works Kevin Williams expects a new and improved shoreline before the end of April. Replenishment efforts are expected to take at least 2 weeks for each beach, which means southern beaches such as Bethany Beach and Fenwick Island will likely have to wait until the summer months for their turn. And that's going to do it for this edition of DETV News. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media platforms and take a look at our website. That's detvch.com. For Thursday night's edition of DETV News, I'm Matt Ford. We'll see you again next week.